Hey guys, so before we get this video started, I just want to let you know that I am going to be doing a shark card giveaway. I'm giving away $3.5 million to one lucky person. That should help you fund the Vagner, as well as a bunch new of the Independence Day content. That giveaway is happening on my Twitter right now. I'll leave a link to it in the description, and it's going to be ending on Monday. So you've got this entire weekend to enter, but I recommend that you do it now because you don't want to wait and you don't want to forget. So I'll be announcing that on Monday, and one of you guys or girls is going to be walking away $3.5 million richer. Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be giving you guys 10 warnings that you need to know before purchasing the new Vagner supercar, as well as the rest of the Independence Day content and everything that's been added into Grand Theft Auto Online. So the big star of the show today is by far the new supercar, the Debauchee Vagner, which is based off of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, one of the craziest hypercar concepts we have. Now, one thing I thought that was pretty interesting is that this is an Independence Day update, and the car that Rockstar releases with it is a British hypercar. I don't know if they were doing that on purpose or if that was just a coincidence. I think that something more along the lines of like a muscle car or something off-roady would have made a little bit more sense, but I guess there really wasn't a vehicle like that hidden within the tunables. But regardless, let's talk about this vehicle and let's talk about some things you need to know before purchasing it. Okay, number one, the spoiler on the Vagner doesn't have an impact. So this car is affected by downforce, which is something that some cars have, some do not. The Vagner does. So you can see here when I'm applying the spoiler, I'm not getting any traction bonus by putting on one spoiler versus another, or by selecting none versus any. So you can choose to have no spoiler on this if you don't like the look cosmetically, and it will have no impact on the performance of the car. Now, speaking of the performance of the car, we need to talk about two things. I guess it's kind of two in one. Number one, where this car sits in relationship to the other supercars. So if you want a full in-depth breakdown of that, I'll leave two video links in the description. They're videos that Bruffy uploaded today. He goes into much more detail that I will be able to provide. But the too long didn't read version is that this car is a beast, especially with the recent addition of Rockstar nerfing downforce. So the Vagner, because it has downforce, gets a significant bump from that recent change and is now actually the second best supercar in the game, stuck between the Tempesta and the Zentorno. So for $1.535 million, you're getting a beast of a supercar that can compete on almost all levels. So this is just from what I've noticed so far. I've spent about 2 or 3 hours playing around with this vehicle. It's really good around turns, has pretty good traction. It doesn't have amazing acceleration from what I've noticed. It's not as bad as like the RE7B, but it doesn't have the best acceleration. And also, according to Bruffy, its top speed falls 6th out of all the supercars, putting it right in front of the Nero, but right behind the Itali GTB Custom. So a pretty competitive top speed. It's certainly not as fast as the top two, which are not going to be challenged, in my opinion, anytime soon, that being the 811 and some of the other vehicles that go along with it. But regardless, I think that is just an absolute awesome thing that Rockstar has done by adding not only a pretty epic car into the game, but a competitive one too that has amazing customization as well. So even though the vehicle is pretty pricey, $1,535,000, just know that on almost all fronts, customization, aesthetics, sound, and performance, it is really an A+. This car is like the total package, and it gets a huge bump, as I mentioned, from the recent change that Rockstar made to downforce. So those are all the findings regarding the performance of this vehicle. Let's talk about a couple other cool things as well. Number one has to do with the wheels of this car. So in case you don't have access to the iFruit app, well, one thing you can do is change the wheels of these cars. If you do have access to the iFruit app, you can change the color of the stock wheels. I've showed you guys how to do that in previous videos, but in case you don't, there's actually a pair of sport wheels that are nearly identical to the ones that come stock. So those wheels are the Mercy wheels, and they are literally almost identical. The only real change that I noticed is the tire. The stock tire is a lot smoother, whereas the sport one has a lot more ridges on there. So it's all going to depend on the kind of look and style you want. And if you also want the custom tires with like the atomic font on there, then the sport one is probably going to be your best bet. But I just thought that was pretty cool and a nice addition to this vehicle. Also, something pretty rare about the Vagner is it's one of like a handful of cars, I think only one of two, that has 4 different options for color. So it has primary and secondary, which obviously affect the outside of the car and will depend on the sort of customization you do, like spoilers, hood scoops, stuff like that. You've got trim color, which has an impact on the interior of the car. That's the only thing it does. And then the accent color is awesome. It's the kind of red that you see on the side of the car that kind of exuberates the carbon fiber. It is also located on the splitter and the diffuser of the car too. It's pretty cool. The one thing I don't love about this vehicle in terms of its customization is you can't change the color of the red brake calipers. Why doesn't the accent color also change the brake caliper? If you want it to match, it's going to be off-centered if you choose anything other than red. So unfortunately, I find that a little bit disappointing, but that's probably the only negative I can find about this car, and that's me nitpicking it. All right, moving away from the Vagner and on to some of the Independence Day items. The first big warning I need to give you guys is that some of the Independence Day items will not stick once you pay for them. So the first of these that I noticed was the horns inside of the Los Santos custom shop. So if you choose a horn and then you go choose another one, it's going to cost you the same amount of money. It's not going to stick like you've paid for it. So be careful. Don't get too trigger happy deciding on the horns. I know obviously you can't have more than one at a time, but if you were listening to them and accidentally choosing them, just know that it is going to be charging you each time you do it. And even more seriously, in my opinion, has to do with the Mobile Operations Center liveries. So you can see here that it's 100,000, 135, 170, and 200. Well, each time you click on one to buy it, it's going to cost you money. It's not going to save. So instead of just having to buy it once, if you want to make a change each time you do, you're going to have to end up paying for it. So to me, that's kind of a bummer. I wish that you could just buy it once and then you would have the option to select whatever livery you wanted whenever you went into the customization mode of the Mobile Operations Center. So that to me is kind of a bummer. Be careful about that. Speaking of that though, some items will, and that's the weirdest part. So like the gun camouflage inside of the MOC, the patriotic camo, it's $100,000 each. Well, each time you go upgrade your gun, you don't have to repay for the $100,000. It's going to be there forever. You can switch between the patriotic one and another one, whatever you like. It's going to stick and it's not going to force you to buy it again. And then the exact same thing can be said about the parachute bags inside of the ammunition store. We've got new parachute bags and smokes and parachutes themselves. You don't have to rebuy those either. So I'm not sure why half the stuff you do have to rebuy, but the other half of the stuff you don't. Just be careful when you're selecting goods. Make sure you're not buying things twice and make sure you're being careful when you select them. All right, at the number 7 spot, the next thing we need to talk about is the Independence Day items and if they will be disappearing. So this is exactly what Rockstar said on the Newswire, and this is what I'll tell you what I think it means. They said firework launchers, classic outfits, the Western Sovereign, and the Liberator monster truck are all back through July 10th and have a 25% off their original price. Plus, this year also brings patriotic new liveries for your MOC and Mark II weaponry to help you flaunt your love of country. So this is what I got from this. The new items that are coming out this year, so the liveries for the Mobile Operations Center and the Mark II weaponry, those are going to be here forever. They are not going to go away. However, the existing items will, because Rockstar said the firework launcher, the classic outfits, Western Sovereign, monster truck are back through July 10th. They don't say the same thing about the new patriotic liveries for the MOC or the Mark II weaponry. Now, that is just my best guess, but to me, it would seem very odd if Rockstar introduced a livery section for the Mobile Operations Center, but then only used it for like 11 days, and then we never got to see it again. Same with the Mark II weaponry. So that's going to be my guess that the old content will eventually go away, but the new content this year is going to permanently stay forever. In my opinion, that makes the most sense, especially given how new the MOC is and how new the Mark II weaponry is. It would be weird to take away things we really ended up just getting. All right, at the number 8 spot, there's 2 weapons that you might not have known will be available, and that is the firework launcher and the musket. And because those weapons might be new for some of you, you might not know that you can actually fill them up with the interaction menu. So if you're doing a fireworks show with your friends and you run out, well, no need to go back to the ammunition store. Simply just use the interaction menu and you can refill your fireworks and all the other guns that you're accustomed to. But because some people might not have had access to this weapon, this could be something new that they never knew that they could end up doing, so that's pretty awesome. At the number 9 spot, kind of a bummer and some things that I think are missing that I wish Rockstar had added, that is the ground fireworks. So they actually removed these from modders in like the most recent update, gun running, but they didn't bring them back with this. What was the point of removing it from modders or people who'd glitched them in if you weren't going to officially add them into the game? Rip ground fireworks, those were one of the most fun things of all time, and I'm not sure why they weren't added back. And same with the beer hats. I feel like this was a missed opportunity for Rockstar to add that back. So there was a lot of old content that did return, but there was some exciting old stuff that didn't return either, which has me a little bit disappointed. And finally, last but not least, at the number 10 spot, some players have actually not been receiving this new content. I'm not even joking. So the tunables was not uploading for some people. And I think Rockstar even had to go in there and actually like fix it. So I'm not sure if it's still buggy or still glitchy like it is right now. On my systems, I have no problem. I'm getting the content, but there have been multiple reports of players not receiving the content. And I wonder if this has anything to do with what was happening yesterday, where the PlayStation 4 servers were going down. And they went down for about 3 or 4 straight hours. So I wonder if that is related at all, even though most of the issues I saw today with the tunables content was on Xbox. So at this point, who knows? I just hope everyone gets to enjoy the content and there aren't any issues that causes it a delay or something like that. But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. 10 things that you need to know, including some warnings regarding the Vagner and the new Independence Day items here in Grand Theft Auto Online. Let me know what you think about the Vagner and everything else we got in the comment section down below. Are you enjoying it? Are you not? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.